Let's run it back with the second best Air Jordan of all time, the Air Jordan 5. Welcome back to the channel, and if you haven't already, I want you to hit that subscribe button. Now, originally released in the 1989-1990 season, the Air Jordan 5, the fifth incarnation of the Air Jordan, and my second favorite Air Jordan of all time. The very first colorway introduced in 1989-1990 was the white, fire red, black midsole, and this colorway is my favorite colorway of the original series, and was the third Air Jordan designed by Tinker Hatfield. As you can see by the sketches of the Air Jordan 5, that he was using the U.S. fighter jets and from World War II as design inspiration for the Air Jordan 5, as you could see shark teeth above the clear midsole. My favorite part of the shoe of the Air Jordan 5 is that clear midsole, where you see the Jumpman logo directly through the clear sole underneath that herringbone traction. The coolest part of the Air Jordan 5 has to be the reflective gray tongue that would reflect under certain light. Air Jordan 5 only came in 4 original colorways. The white black original, nicknamed Fire Red with the black midsole, or the white red black, also known as the Fire Red 5, the grape colorway, aka the Fresh Prince, and the black metallic Air Jordan 5. Continuing on with the white Fire Red, the very first time I saw these was in the year 1990. This was the time I also saw the Air Jordan Fire Red, which really hooked me into the Air Jordan brand. As the Fire Red was on its way out, because they were sold out in stores, and the kids I knew that had them really worn them out and destroyed them. So I was unable to get that pair until I was a lot older. I really wanted a pair of Air Jordans, and they were very expensive, and my mom couldn't afford it at that time. So at that time in 1989, 1990, I had a lot of Air Trainers, Agassiz, since they were very similar to the Air Jordans, but a little bit cheaper and affordable for my mom and dad to afford. But in 1990, this is a story of how I was able to acquire the original 1990 Air Jordan 5. A buddy of mine in my grade had these the entire year at school. And that year, I'd bug him every day for his shoes if he wanted anything of mine for his shoes. And at the end of the year, he came up to me and said, "Hey, I'll trade you my shoes for your BMX bike." And my bike at the time was a BMX bike. It was the one that had the foam across the handlebars and the foam across the crotch bar. I said to him, "I will trade you anything you want, and I'll meet you after school." So I rode my BMX bike to his house, grabbed his Air Jordan 5s that were completely blown. The soles were like bald. Both air bubbles had like, someone had put a pin through it and popped both airbags. But I traded my BMX bike for his Air Jordan 5s, and I came home and walked in the door and said, "Dad, I got Air Jordans. I finally got my first pair of Air Jordans." My dad turned around. I may have gotten beat at this time, but I can't remember. I turned around, grabbed those Air Jordans from my hand, and we drove directly over to my friend's house that I traded the BMX bike for. We got the bike back. He got his shoes back, and that was the story of how I had those for a good 2 hours in my possession, the original Air Jordan 5 Fire Reds. Eventually, I did get my very first pair of Air Jordans, which was the Air Jordan 6 Black Infrared. Moving on to the second best colorway of the Air Jordan would be the Metallic 5s. The first time I saw the Metallic 5s was in the TV series Fresh Prince, when Will Smith was wearing this throughout the entire first season of The Fresh Prince. And I was like, man, that shoe looks super awesome. He had the tag still hanging on it. Everything looked so cool about that Air Jordan 5 that I wanted these as well. And seeing Michael in these shoes play in the playoffs against Detroit Pistons, seeing him in pages of Sports Illustrated wearing these, jumping over the scorer's table, really sparked my interest on the Air Jordan 5. I thought the design of this shoe was crazy and one of the best of all time. Moving on to the Grape 5 is a different colorway because it doesn't match any of the Chicago Bulls uniforms or anything to do with Chicago. But the Grape colorway had a very cool effect on me, seeing Will Smith wear these in this series, Fresh Prince. And he wore this model. You would see this model every episode because it was in the intro song when he flipped over his king's chair. Now, I have the original Grape 5 in my collection. I have a grade school pair and an infant pair. I did at one time have an original men's pair, but I sold that years ago hearing that the Air Jordan 5 was going to come back. Unfortunately, the grape pair never came back originally when it retroed in 2001. The only colorway that came back was the white red original and the black metallic original. Fortunately, in 2000, they gave us the Nike Air on the back, which really hyped my interest in that shoe because it looks so good with the Nike Air on the back. Here is my original pair from 2001 with the Nike Air on the heel, the clear sole with the Jumpman through the top. These did sit on shelves for a very long time, and luckily I got this on sale. If you were like me, and this was before I started at Champs, and you waited for those friends and family 30% off coupons, they don't do that anymore. But back then, you could hold off for those 30% off coupons, and sometimes it would work on some of the Air Jordans and some of the shoes on sale. So I got these for, I think, 89 bucks back in 2001 because they sat on the shelf and I waited for that friends and family coupon to get discount. Everything was perfect about this retro, as it had a Nike Air branding on the insole, Nike Air branding on the back, and the see-through mesh, and the toggle said Nike on it as well. My favorite part has to be the soft 3M tongue. I think the soft 3M tongue is a lot better than the ones they've been using recently that are kind of hard. The second colorway to release back in 2001 was the Air Jordan 5 Metallic. This one was built real nice. This isn't the 2001 version. This is the retro from 2016. This 2016 one is really done well and looks a lot like the original 2001 retro. It's a little off from the original 1990 pair, but the shape and the quality of this pair is very similar to the 2001 retro. I really enjoy the red insole that on the 2001 pair, it was black, but I really enjoy that. The only problem I think with the 2016 pair is that tongue. I do like the 3M material on the tongue, but like I said, it's really hard and not as soft as the original 2000. The best part of those first released retro is that it came with the retro cards. The retro cards really added to the experience of the retro models because it told you a little bit of history of the Air Jordan 5. Like on this original retro card, it shows that Michael Jordan scored 69 points wearing the Air Jordan 5 against the Cleveland Cavaliers that year. I really wish they would give us the retro cards back. When I was a kid, seeing all the original Air Jordan 5 in the pages of Sports Illustrated or Beckett or on basketball cards, I wanted these shoes for years after, even after they released the 6, the 7, the 8. But in the late 90s, eBay started up. And just out of fluke, my girlfriend at the time, her mom was selling Beanie Babies. And just out of fluke, I just asked her, do you think there's any Air Jordans on eBay? And she said, why don't you check? So I checked on eBay, and there was Air Jordans. And they were fairly good priced, you know, like 20 bucks, 60 bucks. So I always wanted these original colorways. So I went back in the vault searching for them through eBay. And I found the original Fire Red with the red midsole with the number 23 on the side. I found original grapes. I found all the originals that I wanted back then, and I bought them for myself. Unfortunately, when they started remaking them in 2001, I thought those colorways would be coming out eventually as well with the Nike Air on the back and so on and so on. So I sold a lot of those original colorways off throughout the years. And looking back now, I regret selling some of them, as some of them would be very great to have in my vintage collection now. I hope that we get more retros or original colorways of the Air Jordan 5 eventually, especially the red midsole Fire Red with the Nike Air on the back. Now, that's one that I would like to see. I would also like to see the grape come back with the Nike Air on the back, not the Fresh Prince with the no laces. I didn't purchase those as I didn't want to spend that much money on something that wasn't exactly right to how I felt that shoe should look. And you know what? The Jumpman on the back of the grape pair doesn't really bug me at all. It only bugs me on this colorway and the black and silver pair, as I have a connection to this one as a child with the Nike Air on the back. So it kind of gives me memories. The grape, I don't really have too much child connection to that one. So having the Jumpman on the back doesn't really bother me. I do prefer the Nike Air on the back to the Jumpman, but it doesn't really bug me as much on the grape pair. There are a lot of great promotional advertisements. The Air Jordan 5 campaign with Mars Blackman continued from the Air Jordan 3 throughout the Air Jordan 4, 5, and all the way up to the 6. And there is a lot of great posters from the 90s where you could see Michael Jordan rocking different colored models of the Air Jordan 5 throughout the years. Do you guys want to see more original Air Jordan 5s come out in the near future? Let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't already, don't forget to catch me on Instagram at 4C23. But if you're enjoying the content, let me know what you think. And until next time,